Hey everybody, welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and we are live breaking news. I just needed some time to gather the intel, what actually happened behind the scenes, but it is official. Gina Carano has been fired from Mandalorian, Star Wars. She is no longer employed with them, and fans all over the web are either celebrating or still frustrated. So happy to have a special guest who I was late because she just popped in last minute. So happy to have her. I don't know if you guys have been following her, but you should be. Gothix, are you there?
I am here. Hello,
So
everyone.
excited to have
Hello.
you. We had some amazing chats over at Hugging the Cactus, and if you haven't been following her YouTube channel over on Gothix, please do. She has some really awesome takes, and I'm so glad you're here to have this conversation with me. Now, you don't know Mandalorian as much, but you've followed the story. You know it, sort of a little bit of what's happening here. So shall I sort of recap everybody to where we're at so we can sort of talk about what's happening and why? I've been given a scoop as to what really happened behind the scenes, so I'll share that as well. But Gothix, before we let's just go through everything so we can hear what actually happened. And then, guys, thanks for watching. I may do some calls and get your opinions as well, because I know a lot of people are hot on this topic. And I have some concerns about what this is going to lead to. Lots to talk about. So, Gothix, thank you for being here. Let's get into this, shall we? All right, so here we go. Lucasfilm drops Mandalorian star Gina Carano following offensive social media posts. Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, the company said in a statement Wednesday after controversy erupted over the Mandalorian star's social media posts. Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future, Lucasfilm spokesman said in a statement. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. I mean, they've said nothing until now, and now they've really just said, boom, you're out. You're abhorrent and unacceptable. Carano shared several offensive posts on her Instagram stories Tuesday night, including one that likened contemporary political differences to the treatment of Jews in Nazi Germany. Jews were beaten in the streets not by. I have the tweet here. In fact, if we're gonna let's actually see what she wrote here. This was the questionable tweet, and we're going to talk about it because I think Gothix and I have some difference of opinions. But here's the image attached by Jews were beaten in the streets not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? That was the one that really sort of was the straw that broke the camel's back. And so in another post, Gina shared a photo of a person wearing multiple cloth masks with the caption, "Meanwhile in California." Really? That got her canceled? Both posts were gone from Carano's Instagram by midday Wednesday. Other posts, including one in which Carano wrote, Jeff Epstein didn't kill himself, remained. I mean, that's true. The hashtag Fired Gina Carano began circulating on Twitter Wednesday in response to her post. Many users tagged Lucasfilm, parent Disney companies. Carano is no stranger to controversy on social media. In November, she was criticized for mocking people who specify preferred pronouns when she updated her Twitter bio with beep, bop, boop, which she later removed. That's not what happened. I hate when this misinformation. She was not mocking people who use them. She was mocking the bullies who insisted and forced that she put them in there. She made that very clear that she supported trans community, and that was not what happened, but that's how the mob has painted it. In December, Lucasfilm announced Rangers of the New Republic, a direct spin-off of The Mandalorian that seemed to suggest a path for her character, Cara Dune, a former rebel trooper who had been a marshal for the New Republic of the show. Lucasfilm has not yet announced a show for that. So all the trades are there. Look, what I'm told, and I want to get to a discussion with you, Gothix, what I'm told, and it's sort of alluded here, this is they have been looking for a reason to fire her for 2 months. Today was the final straw, a source with knowledge of Lucasfilm, telling THR. And that's what I'm hearing, but more specifically, what I'm hearing, again, I asked 3 times, and this is coming from my source, so I wanted to make sure, is this true? And the reality was, the reason this is because Jon Favreau is Jewish, and this one really pissed him off. That was really the reason why. He was really upset that he went and did this comparison to the Holocaust. And I can see, look, okay, why were you only pissed, John, when it was about you? It's a question I want to figure out because it's telling, right? But at the same time, that's what's finally let him out. The other thing I know is she was integral in that new show. She was going to be the star of that show. They now are going to try and figure out another character to lead the Rangers. They still have some time. But now that show was built around her. And so now clearly this was a hard decision and why they had been pausing, because they were hoping to work with her and make that work. But now, obviously, they're going to replace the character and have a new leader of the Rangers of the New Republic. So, Gothix, now that I've gotten all that out, so while our audience knows what's happening, I'm frustrated because I do think what she said was stupid. I think what she said was stupid, but I think it was misunderstood. And I don't think she's a malicious or racist or mean person. I've seen her. I've been paying close attention to her. I've defended her, and I don't like giving the mob a win. At the same time, I think the criticism, I will, just to be fair, I think she got too comfortable just out there tweeting and saying what she wanted, knowing she worked for Disney. If she still wanted to work for Disney, she should have been a little bit more careful, and I think that is where she really made her ultimate mistake. And I think it's unfortunate because now she gave ammo to her critics to be able to over-exaggerate and say things that I think she didn't mean, and that really upsets me because I know she's been very supportive and loving and not against the trans community, a lot of things they've been painting her. She seems to be more conservative, but that shouldn't be why we cancel people. Gothix, what is your take on this now that I've recapped it all? What do you see on this?
Sorry. Yeah. So I saw the tweet where she compared, the Trump supporters to Nazi Germany, and I'm assuming that's the one that everybody is getting, annoyed about. The thing with that tweet in particular is I've been following the things that have been happening like in America and worldwide for like the past.
Hold on. Let me restart my audio. There's audio. Tell me if the mixer is now if it's fixed. Sorry, audio is glitching. Go ahead, Gothix, as they're telling me in the chat.
Yeah. So I'm looking at, her tweet, and I'm seeing that comparison of Nazi Germany about like Trump supporters or Republicans. But one thing that I have been noticing is the generalizing and demonizing of people that are on the right, or people more so that specifically voted for Trump. You see it on a lot of mainstream media networks where they kind of group Trump supporters in the same sentence when they're talking about white supremacists, terrorists, things of that nature. And personally, I find that is extremely dangerous. So I can understand the similarities in that sense. And I might even make a video on this topic soon, because I don't think what she's saying is so. I don't think what she's saying is out of the ordinary. Like, if you pay attention, there is no reason that we should be demonizing one specific group of people. I don't see how anything good would come from that.
So I mean, so let's talk about the tweet example. And sorry, it looks like it's not on the mic. I lowered the audio. I think it's just crackling. Apologies, guys. I don't want to interrupt what we're doing, but I want to make sure it sounds better. I've lowered sort of the levels and have reset. I hope it's better. This tweet in specific, I think it's clearly this is the tweet that broke the camel's back, that everyone's pretty much admitting. And you said you don't see a problem with it. I've had a lot of arguments with people today over this tweet, over this exchange, because what was frustrating is a lot of people were out there saying she's defending Nazis, and it's like that's not what she's doing here.
Right.
That's not what this is. There was a lot of misdirection about her seeming to defend Nazis. What I think she mistakenly did here, and I don't think she realized, is she is sort of downplaying the Holocaust and what happened, to sort of trying to say, well, it's the same as sort of what conservatives are going through now. I see how people are jumping to that logic, and I think that was just a very misinformed and misguided attempt to sort of get what she was trying to say, which is that, look, how did they get to Nazis? How did we get to such a hateful place? What created that sort of environment? We can't ignore history. There was more to it that got us there. So I can actually see both sides of where I think she was coming from, but I think it was just a really stupid thing to say. What is your take on this?
My take is I understand what she's saying, and I think she should have delivered it a little bit more with more information, because first of all, we have to acknowledge that a lot of people these days are just intellectually lazy. Like, they don't want to dissect anything and consider, okay, why would she say something like this? And I think people are more outraged at the fact that she would even insinuate that there's some comparison there, even though I can see there are a lot of similarities as far as the grooming of society to get society on the same page to hate a specific person. Do I think that she should have been fired for this? Absolutely not. Because that's another layer to it. Once we start getting into the category of censoring people and demanding people don't express themselves or have what I consider, you know, a fair argument, because let's be real, America is not normal right now. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening. People are losing their minds, and I think an observation like this is a fair one, but I think she should have done it a little bit better. And again, I don't think she should have lost her job for it, because once we start censoring people, to me, that's a red flag. To me, that's why can't we have difference of opinion and talk about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, to me, sorry, I just was checking this audio level. It is a little crackly. I'm doing one more reset. It worked. I don't know why. Every time I do this, it's a little bit different. Hopefully, is that less? Is that better? Wish I could trim this out. Nothing I fixed today is different. Is that better? Let me know if that's better. Yeah, the reality is what you just said is like. And I'm sorry the audio is so bad. I don't know what it is, but I don't know how to fix this currently, and I don't want to stop the conversation. Tell me if that hopefully fixed it. My reset. The ground. I just did a whole video too. That was that. Is that better? I'm waiting for their delay to tell me. What I was gonna try. Yeah, please use your member money to make more audio. Yes, please donate some super chats. Send it over through the Cash App. I will happily buy. I'm trying to buy a new system and computer. Your support helps me do that. But let me know if it's better now. No, it's still. Goddamn. What? Why? Hold on. I'm here.
Fired for this? Absolutely not.
It's just a little crackle, guys. Come on. Why is it doing that though? Is there an audio person in the chat who can tell me?
Is your chat audio elitist? Is that what's happening?
It's like a little crackly. I understand. It's never ever done this before. So of course, when I have the most people streaming, it always messes up. I've adjusted every chord. That should fix it there. Need better. Yeah. Hey, hit me up, somebody on Twitter, and I will figure it out for the next one. It's a little cranky, but we can hear everything. Okay, cool. They're telling me. Sorry for the crackliness. I don't know how to fix this, but I don't want to stop the conversation because this is an important one. So I'm just getting distracted by the audio. Turn your video volume down. I did. Yeah, just turn it down a little bit. So apologies, guys, for the audio issues, but I'm just going to try and truck through it. I've checked all my connections. I've reset it. It's just a little crackle, so I apologize, guys. It's Bednar. Good. It's moving. It's good. Yes. Perfect. Sounds better. Great. All right, back to it, Gothics. We're not distracted. Apologies for the audio. What you said was important. I want to echo on. The problem is here with giving into this mob. Why is she fired? Why are we firing her and canceling her job? You can have a problem with what she said. Why can't we have a conversation and hear from her and what was said? Did Jon Favreau actually call her? Disney talk to her? Why are you sharing this? Had they had previous conversations where she kept pushing the envelope? These are questions I want to know, where it's like, was this fleet really worth it at the end of the day? Or is it so important for, like, why should I have to censor my speech? At the same time, like, do I, as a supporter of hers who's been out there defending her, who really appreciates her, do I think this fleet was worth it? Personally, no. That's where I'm frustrated, because I feel like I can see where she's coming from. I get the point, but I just think that she became too important of a figure to be out there getting, what's the word? You know what I'm saying? Like, not being more careful about sort of the words she chose. Do you get what I'm saying there? And I feel like I'm disappointed in that, like, this is how it went out. Because it's like, I can see why some people are frustrated by the lack of context in this thing, and they're mischaracterizing it, and I can see where the frustrations are. Absolutely. At the same time, I can also see where she's coming from, of trying to get to the root of where does hate come from? Why are we at this place? And what the not forgetting history and not letting history be rewritten to sort of take us to those places are important things that people say. Do you think she's going to regret this, or do you think this is going to empower her to say, see, I got to keep speaking my mind?
I think it's going to empower her. Because even in my situation, I'm not a confrontational person. I like keeping to myself, but there are some things that I cannot simply ignore, because I see society going on this very hateful trajectory, and it's not a good thing. And with her losing her job for these statements, we also can't deny that there have been many cases this year, or actually like within the last few months, of Republicans, mainly Trump supporters, who have lost their job because their employer either found out what they were saying on social media about, you know, whether it's like political differences or something like that. So to me, I'm noticing a very obvious pattern, and I'd rather people be made aware of it, regardless if it's true. I would rather prepare for something like this being true than underprepare. You know, I'd rather foresee, okay, this could be some similarities, this could be a possibility. I'd rather do that than be totally just, no, that could never happen. That's not going to happen. Because if we think about it, back in the day, did the Jews think that the Holocaust would happen? I would assume probably not. You know, so I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing to have these conversations, but her getting fired is a little bit worrisome, because if we're not allowed to have these conversations, especially in the same context, for example, with conspiracy theories, if, you know, these big tech platforms are removing what they deem conspiracy theories instead of allowing the public to consume all bits of information before formulating their own conclusion, to me, that's like cherry picking information. I don't want somebody doing that for me.
Right.
I want to be able to come to my own conclusion.
Yeah, and I really worry this is going to empower that mob, which I'm already seeing on Twitter. Like we fired her, she's fired. Like, is so scary to sort of see the celebration now. We got rid of her. Yes, the relief. Yay, Pedro's happy. Like, I can't stand how this is what the other side is. That they're like celebrating that they got someone fired because they had different political beliefs is really what this comes down to. The fact is, like, I think Gina is a really smart person who has a lot of different opinions than obviously a lot of these woke Star Wars fans who she's irritating. And the fact that we're at a place where it's like we can't meet in that middle or have those conversations terrifies me. And I worry about what this means for the future of the fact that we were looking at Dancing Carlton. I don't feel this energy. Like, my daughter loves this character. Like, Cara Dune is a great character. My daughter loves it. She has the Pop and a Funko Pop. I'm like sad to be like, well, where'd she go? Oh yeah, well, she said some stupid things and they canceled her. Like, it really bothers me. Where I'm frustrated though is, like, I don't know what the background is. I would hope, right? You'd think like Favreau called her and like has maybe called her several times and sort of tried to warn her. Do you think that makes a difference? If they had warned you, Gothics, if they were like, all right, look, we know you have a difference of opinion, but can you please just be careful in how you say it? Like, we're keeping very close eye. You know, we're at Disney. We're canceling left and right anybody who does anything the wrong way. Do you think she, you know, do you think they gave her that chance to be careful, or do you think she just ignored it, or maybe they didn't even give it to her?
I think they didn't even give her that chance, because I think, in my opinion, the message that they're sending by, you know, taking into consideration the outrage behind previous statements that she's made, it seems to me that Disney, or rather anyone in Hollywood would not, it's either don't talk about it at all or not even frame it properly. Just don't talk about it. And I've had this conversation with my sponsors where I've said, okay, I'm going to start getting a little bit more controversial to the public standard. I'm going to start talking about things that, you know, are the appropriate opinion. So I've prepared my sponsors for that. But in her case, I have a feeling she wasn't even given the opportunity to even formulate what she wanted to say in a certain way. It was just, you better not talk about this. And if that's the case, I'm glad that she said what she had to say, because I think it highlights a big problem that's happening, which is censorship. It is a huge problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for those who have joined late in this, thank you guys, who everybody's streaming. Welcome, everybody. I have a lot of new people who are just from the outsider. Please hit that like button, that subscribe button. We're going to try and take some of your comments, your calls. I see a lot of your super chats coming in. Thank you. Keep them coming. I'm going to read them in a bit. But for those of you who are new in the chat and coming and join this stream a little later, yeah, the insight I'm told from my scoopsers is that once that tweet went out, it was donezo. It was over. They all were figuring out, okay, this is the one. Let's make the move. And because it was against the Holocaust, seemingly it was, because Favreau's Jewish, that specifically hurt him even harder, and that was where it was sort of like, all right, enough. No reason to keep pretending this issue, and that was the final straw that really broke the camel's back and got her out of there. And this sort of opens up what I think a lot of people had been reporting is that there was these things that she'd apologized and she would still be there. I don't know if any of that's true. I hope she does a tell-all and sort of explains us all on this, because she should. I can't imagine she's happy right now. But yeah, I think you're right. She's probably empowered. The base is empowered. But at the end of the day, this sucks. This sucks for her and for conservatives or anybody out there, because what is she going to do next? That was a big role, a big thing that now she doesn't get to follow through on. So I'm still a little just frustrated that she wasn't more careful. I don't know. What is your take on that? You don't think she should have been careful? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want her to be censored. I want her to say what she wants. But don't you think being on that show as conservative, who was given a lot of rope, like she was saying a lot of stuff for a long period of time, don't you think she needed to be a little bit more careful on sort of making sure she didn't say something that would keep being miscommunicated?
I mean, it's weird because I can't even put myself in her position to even come up with an answer for that, because I would not want to work for someone that told me that they would have control over what I say on social media. It would never happen. And to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like Hollywood is very woke in the sense that no, you need to be very careful about the types of things that you say. We support these things, therefore if you don't support these things, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's very one-sided politically in Hollywood, and I just could not put myself in that position. So
yeah, I mean, you're right, but it's tough when you're an actress and you get the score of being in The Mandalorian for Disney. It changes things. So you're right. Neither of us can sort of imagine what that struggle is like. But then it's like, all right, I'm here in Disney, who's clearly more leftist. I'm clearly maybe more conservative. I want to be able to speak my mind and have the freedom, but I also want this opportunity that brings all these amazing opportunities and paychecks and things. It has to have been a tough spot for her. So I feel for her. I want to get somebody said she got L.R. Lee. Thank you for that super chat. She got fired because she's a conservative with non-mainstream leftist views. Let's be honest and stop dancing around what this is. I mean, I don't think we're dancing around that. I think that's pretty clear. I agree. I mean, I don't think anybody's denying that. She hasn't labeled her political beliefs. Like, she doesn't say Trump. She hasn't said who she voted for. Now she's done, she said stuff about masks. I think a lot of people are starting to question masks. A lot of people are having frustration with that. It's a conversation I think we do need to have. A lot of, places are starting to loosen up their guidelines. New York, Cuomo, who has been so about the safety, is finally saying, we can't just keep being shut down. The businesses are suffering too much. There's a lot of people who are frustrated out there. So I don't take that as just because she had thoughts on masks and posted a photo of somebody wearing 2 masks, which I'll be honest, it does look silly. Just get a better mask if you really want to be safe. Putting 2 masks on your face, it's like putting on 2 pairs of gloves. It just seems a little excessive, right? To me, the fact that the Hollywood Reporter, and they're putting that in there as her evil tweets that got her canceled, it really does show like right is bad, left is okay, is really what's happening in Hollywood. And you've opened up about your politics. I know it's like, it does seem to be a death nail right now. If you promote anything conservative out on social media, you are treated as the devil, as you are against us, you are evil. Whereas I feel like a lot of people who are open to conservative beliefs aren't even necessarily conservatives. They're just rational people who want to hear both sides. I mean, that's where you are too, right?
Yeah, I don't consider myself conservative at all. People put that label on me, but I'm reasonable. Mm-hmm. That is literally, I am reasonable. I am accommodating. And a lot of people I think are. I don't know where this hate comes from, and I don't know how society's been able to groom people so much to the point that we are now demonizing anyone that lives under the label of conservatism is automatically bad. Like the day that I started uploading my conservative content to YouTube was the day that I had mass amounts of people just stop talking to me. Like, I can't talk to this person, she's the devil, like, et cetera, et cetera. And it's literally just me being reasonable with things. Like, okay, so you want to wear 2 masks? Well, let's think about it. Let's look at some data. How dare you look at data? It's like that. It's irrational.
Agreed. Here's another chat. Thank you, Mr. D. Dr. Cornbread, for the win. I do think comparing conservatives to Jews in World War II Germany is pretty cringe. I agree. I think it was just a stupid comparison, but how come Pedro Pascal didn't catch criticism and heat when he compared Trump supporters to the Klan and World War II Germans? Very valid point. Thank you for bringing that up, because he did. He made some really hateful stuff out there, but he's untouchable because he put pronouns in his bio. Let's be honest. Because he bowed down to the mob that was pressuring both him and Gina to, well, you better put the pronouns in your bio. And then he did when he was sort of informed, oh, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And then she just chose not to and said, well, I'm not going to be doing that, but thanks. I appreciate trans community. More power to you, all respect. They started hammering her harder and harder, and that's why she did that. And so then she's been labeled transphobic because she wanted to stand up to bully. I don't like any community who is going to bully others into telling you what to do. I think we're on the same page. That is killing our society. I support the trans community, absolutely, but that doesn't mean that gives them a right to be bullies, to demand that we do things for their support. So yeah, it's very interesting. Did you see that Pedro Pascal thing? I know you're sort of half in the story, but did you see the stuff he had posted comparing conservatives to the Klan and Germans?
No, but I just heard about it right now.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And I'm in agreement because I constantly see that type of hypocrisy in general, not even with people in Hollywood, where you can openly just call someone who is right-leaning or someone that voted for Trump, you are a Nazi, you are a terrorist, you're all this and that and the other, and that is fine. But if you do it in the reverse, now it's a problem.
Correct.
Most sensible people would see it as would call out the hypocrisy, but a lot of people don't see it that way.
No, it's a massive hypocrisy. And it's fun because it's like I don't even know what my political belief is these days. I feel like I was more liberal, obviously in the Hollywood bubble, and then I realized when I got canceled, it was conservatives who were way more forgiving and open to discussing with me and talking to me, and that didn't make me take the red pill, as everyone assumes I did because I hang with them, but it did make me more open of like, wow, I was a real jerk to these people. I just assumed they were all racist. Like anybody who voted for Trump must be racist. And I was absolutely guilty of that. But as you get to know people, as you move out of your bubble and you move to Florida, and I moved to Tampa, which is a very diverse, all politically, everything, you really learn there's people of all types of colors and everything and political leanings. Regular people are good. Like a lot of them are just good people who just have difference of opinions and can be civil about it. I've had so many more. But because I've had those conversations with people who aren't liberals and because I've been canceled, it's Andy's that alt-right conservative Trump supporter. It's so frustrating. And so I was frustrated because I saw Gina as like she was one of the ones out there who still was like pushing through without having to be afraid of what she said. And so, that's why I'm still a little bit in shock and frustrated by this, because I do think there's some cringe to what she posted because it just was a stupid comment. But do you? Yeah, I mean,
here's my recommendation. I think we all should start paying attention a little bit more. Not too much attention to necessarily celebrities and things like this, but pay attention to what is happening right now, in the media as far as news reporting and restrictions and things like that. Pay attention because there are a lot of things that I think people might be overlooking because of whether it be the hype of the lockdowns or whatever. I think people are going to start to see a lot more similarities. I'm going with that.
Well said. There's a couple more. Sheila, thank you for the thank you $10 sticker. Very nice of you. That's going to help me get better audio equipment today, guys. Now's your chance to subscribe, join, or donate and help me fix. I don't know why, but I think it's gotten better. There was another one here I had. Velky. She's gorgeous. Who is she? I assume speaking about you, Gothics. This is Gothics. You can find her on Twitch, YouTube, etc. But she's very smart too, guys. I like the way she talks. So listen to the words too. But yeah, I'm sure you're gorgeous as well. But but I just found Gothics because I loved her takes on things. She offers a really cool perspective, and you've been through your own sort of journeys and stuff. We talked about it on Hugging the Cactus, so you know what it's like. So you've been through here. We've both sort of been through the mobs who've come after us. What is your advice? What do you think Gina should do next?
Keep going. Don't go back.
Totally. So double in, and then
There is no point of return because the thing is, even if she were to apologize, take back what she said, the mob already knows that they can get away doing what they want to do. So now it's not even a matter of principle of, firing someone who said something on social media that you don't like. Now we're dealing with cancel culture, and that's a whole different ball game. So now they own her, and if she apologizes, they're going to continue to dictate how she navigates the rest of her life. Can't get this job, can't get this role because you bowed down to that mob. So now she has to go all in and keep going. And eventually, I think it's going to quiet down because she needs to establish herself that, no, I'm not going to take anyone's crap. What I said what I said. So that's what I think she should do.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation, what I agree, my lessons too, like, well, take accountability if you feel like you did something wrong. If you did something wrong and you actually want to do that, then great. But don't just do it to try and get the job back or to woo over the audience. And I don't think she's going to want to do that either. She seems smarter. She's clearly been doing what she wants to do. But I agree. You lost the job. It seems clear they've turned on you. Based on that statement, they've been waiting to turn on you. Yeah. And that's got to hurt. And I feel for her. And I don't want to just... There's so much joy. God, it's so gross. Like looking at these Twitter feeds, a lot of professionals too. Like someone I saw one. There's so many right now. It's just so trending, so big. But it was Slash Film was enjoying like seeing her figures on sale for 30% and going, wonder why. But here it was like, wonder why. Dude, I would pick those up right now. Those are going to be very valuable now that her character has been removed. Disney may try to remove them all. So anybody seeing her figures for 30% at the store, jump on it now. But why do people have to be so disrespectful about it? Like, why do we... I said it earlier as this was all brewing. Why do people have the need to just say they hate somebody instead of just not following them or, blocking them? It's
because
like
they're bored.
Yeah, it's like their own securities, right? What is your feelings on all that?
I just think that they're bored. Like I have people that follow me and do play-by-plays of the things that I say on my timeline, knowing that I've either blocked them or they've already said that they're taking their leave. So there are just people out there that are miserable, bored people, in my opinion, who have nothing else to do than to criticize how someone else lives their life. Criticize their opinions. And doing that, I think it implies that you are perfect. You're an angel. You could never do anything wrong. And that's crap.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. I don't like the joyful celebration in the downfall, and too many people try to do that to pump up their own insecurities. They enjoy the down, like they want to punch down. They enjoy taking people down, and look. I understand that people didn't like her reviews. Okay, but why did you need to cancel her from the show because of reviews? Just because she's on that show doesn't mean she did anything hateful or would going to be hateful. Just because she made an opinion here that, I think in hindsight maybe put a foot in her mouth doesn't mean she's a Nazi supporter, which is what everyone's trying to label her as. And that's where it's frustrating. And by defending her now, you and I are going to be deplorable, to that side, to that the woke Star Wars base. We're now deplorable people for feeling empathy for her and trying to see there was, I think there was something in what she was trying to say. If we don't, and this cancellation and everything that's happening in the mob against her is only reiterating what she's saying. No,
right? It is like the fact that you have to be fearful of losing your job over something as far as an opinion. It should worry a lot of people, I think. And I just had a brain fart. I did this last time we talked. I had a brain fart.
You also we both have been streaming all day too, so it's tired. Pitch over your questions. Happy to talk and get your comments in. But yeah, as you're saying, if we get in trouble for what we think and fired from our jobs for saying things we believe, that just in questioning society or the government or trying to point out atrocities in history and trying to offer new perspective. I still don't understand what was hateful about this. I think this was insensitive. I do think the statement was seen insensitive. And I think I wonder if she would have apologized had they said, look, apologize for the insensitivity and you'll be fine. If they had said that to you, Gothix, would you have accepted and said, fine, I can see I didn't mean it in that way. What I'm trying to say was this. You wouldn't even done that to keep the job?
Oh no, I would have found another job. Because the thing is I don't believe the majority of people right now that are on social media celebrating that she got fired, I believe to be a very small minority. They're just louder. I think that there are a lot of level-headed, reasonable people out there that believe in free speech, don't like censorship, hate cancel culture, but they're afraid to talk about it. I've had so many conversations since I had my political awakening last year to know that there is a quote unquote silent majority, and they're just scared. So I think, like I said, she should just keep going forward, and eventually it's going to get better, because I think more people are going to start speaking up, because now you're messing with people's livelihoods. The fact that the public can control whether or not you're allowed to feed your family is ludicrous to me.
No, look, but that's the problem. It's like it is feeding your family, and it's Star Wars. Like to be a conservative and be in Disney, there's just something a little bit different where I agree. Look, maybe she wasn't happy. Maybe she was pushed. Maybe this was all intentional, right? We don't know what her thinkings are, but maybe she was pushing the envelope to try to get out so she could be that sort of example. Maybe that was all her intent, in which case, we'll hear from her. But I don't know. There's part of me that just thought, man, you were there as sort of someone from the other side who seemingly Disney doesn't allow. And, that's frustrating, where it's like, I don't know. I might have seen the insensitivity and sort of what people thought, but you're right. In looking at this again, I fought it. I don't think she was trying to defend Nazis or be hateful with this. Yeah, I think she was trying to point out. I think she was really trying to point out exactly what just happened. That if you think differently and you are treated as the enemy, and seeing all the people celebrating online proves it. Like this disgusts me. Like I don't get it. Like so much of what they accused her of wasn't even accurate or true. Like she wasn't transphobic. There was so much. There were so many. It just started piling up and piling up. And I did some videos where there was a data racer. Good on him. He would compile all these tweets to sort of show the evidence of like how bullied she was. Like how many people were actually like coming at her because she wouldn't do what they told her to do. It wasn't about things she said most of the time. It was just about her reacting to that bully, which was like relentless. And look, I'm not conservative, and I don't know if she is, but I don't like watching people get bullied. That's just, I don't care what side you're on. I feel like we all should stand up for somebody if we see them getting bullied, even if they're saying something maybe I don't agree with. But the society we live in now, no. If you don't agree with my groupthink, you're canceled. You're going to lose your job. Let me get through some of these super chats. If you have something else you want to just spit out, let me know. Nick Lippius, when the star of the show's brother comes out as a trans woman and the creator is Jewish, you need to be able to read the room. Consequences. Look, honestly, Nick, I think you're right. It's like you work for Disney, and Pedro Pascal, the timing of loss, interesting. He was being praised this morning because his sister came out in an article as trans, to announce to the world, and he was very supportive, and good for him. Good for them. Got no problem with that. But sort of it created this sort of Pedro versus Gina narrative out there on social media that who knows if it was even true. But that's what Disney is right now. Like it's all of these things, and I think she just, whether she wanted to read the room, Nick, is the question, or whether she wanted to go, I think is what we don't know yet. I would think no one would want to go from Mandalorian, though. My God, I know you haven't watched it, but I would think, man, that's a bummer to lose that gig. David March, as a published World War II historian, her tweet said nothing wrong, but unlike most of her critics, I know the truth of the situation. Yes, David, thank you for that. And another one from Rexamillion. There's a difference between being conservative Republican and supporting Trump's unhinged toxicity. He hijacked the Republican Party. Trump was a monster. Yeah, look, we could have a whole Trump stream, and I don't want to do that. I'm not going to ask Gothics to go there. I don't. It's my.
There'll be a 5-hour response.
My politics on that aren't matter. But yeah, look, I especially didn't like him this January, but it is what it is. Jimbo, how would you react if she gets replaced by Amber Heard? Oof. that would set me off. You know the Amber Heard drama, right, with Johnny Depp?
No.
Oh my gosh, you gotta have you backed up. Amber Heard is suing Johnny Depp is suing a publication for saying that, I got to be careful of my language, of her. She accused him of that. And so they called him out, and the Salacious, the Sun in UK called him out. So he sued them for defamation, and in doing so, Amber had to prove that he was a type of person. And in doing all that, there was audio tapes that leaked. I'll have to send them to you because that is totally worth conversation. There's a whole justice for Johnny Depp that I've gone deep into because I've watched the research. In listening to these audio tapes of Amber Heard, she admits to doing it to him. And he admits to like, I want to get out of the conversation. Like, she's like, you always leave. You always leave when it gets to this. He's like, yeah, when you're going to punch me, I want to get out of the room. Yeah, I don't want to deal with this. He's like nicely always trying to get out of these situations, and she's yelling at him. It's the most toxic audio tapes I've ever heard that just made me like unhinged listening to this type of woman. Because I think a lot of people have been in relationships with people like this, whether it's a man or woman, these toxic types of people who just all they want to do is fight you. And so the narrative, though, is that he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy and she's the hero, and believe her, even though there's all this evidence now that's been piling up that she's a liar. She said she'd give all their settlement money and the divorce to children's hospitals, and then she didn't, and she was caught for the past year lying about it and taking all this good press that she gave the money to charity, and the charity never got the damn money. Dude, it's a whole, I don't want to, that's the shortest version I can give you, but she's the worst, and there's a big community out there that hate her. But what's so ironic and annoying and why it's relevant is they haven't fired her from anything. She's still like, in Snyder Cut. She's going to, apparently, they're talking about whether she's going to be in Aquaman 2. And she's out there working while Johnny's getting fired from Fantastic Beasts and everything that he's doing because he lost his appeal, even though he lost that case against the publisher, but he's still appealing. But yeah, anyway, that's the short story. Sorry to update her and anybody else who didn't know. But it's insane. But because he's a man, it doesn't work. Even though it's on audio tape, they still don't care. It's so frustrating. I implore you to look into it. But yeah, so Amber Heard doing it, guys, I would hate it. I mean, does that frustrate you? I mean, men can be abused too. It is a reality.
Yes. I recently had close friends of mine try to get me too'd on social media, and it's just the willingness that the public will automatically believe something without even realizing that A, they're just the middleman that doesn't know the full story, and B, typically when there is something in regards to like abuse or assault or something like that, there's a trial, there's an investigation, there's evidence. People on Twitter don't know what they're talking about when they try to rally behind a cause to either get someone fired or something like that. So it's weird. It is weird to me that there is a clear double standard of something like this where you can't say the wrong thing. Meanwhile, because of this, I don't know, this idea of always believe women in these types of situations, which I think is a very dangerous narrative to begin with, these people still have jobs. How is that possible? That doesn't make any sense. It's backwards.
It's so backwards. And in that case particularly, if you go down the rabbit hole, a lot of people just sort of assume, oh, no, it was a toxic relation for both people. But no, if you really go listen to the tapes and you look at the evidence, it's not a lot of exes come forward to like talk about how great their partner was. That's just, right. I mean, look, some people have that, some people don't. But a lot of times breakups are bad. And all of his exes, his ex-wives, Winona Ryder, all came out of the woodwork, be like, this is not, I was with him for years. This is not the man. Now, look, that doesn't, mean they were there, but it just tells you to the character. Meanwhile, she's got so many people that came forward that worked for her that talked about how awful she was to them and mistreated them. It's so frustrating that we live in a society where we have to believe her, but we can't believe him. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for letting me go off on an Amber turd, rant, as we call her.
I do got to get going though.
All right. Gothics, thank you for being here. I'm going to take some calls, guys. Let's plug you as we go as your channel. I have it here. Anything else you want to sell your channel on so they can come subscribe to you next?
If you want to, I don't know, just follow me. I don't even know how to describe my channel. I have no idea. If you want to be confused of whether or not you get angry or you want to hear a controversial point of view, check my channel out.
Check out. It's not. Oh, hold on. It's not here. It's here. Boom. There it is. GothixTV. Go subscribe to check her out. She's got so many amazing takes. So glad you got to be here. We got to do it. Thank you so much for being here. Check her out. Thank you, Gothics. You can head on out. I'm going to take calls from you guys. If anybody in the chat, I was trying to get Jody Lewis in here. I'm going to keep going. I want to get your calls in here to take your thoughts. I'll try and do one-on-one. We'll do a radio show vibe just because we got so many of you watching. I know a lot of you have thoughts on this. So glad to get Gothic's viewpoint. I may trim this, though, after the fact for YouTube just to get our initial thoughts. There you have the update. So if I trim this for YouTube on the replay, now you know. Don't go anywhere, though. I'm going to take your calls next. We're going to see what you guys think about this issue. Thank you guys for watching us live. If you haven't already, go subscribe.